I just believe in the process, and we're going to win going through the process.
Now, Bills Mafia, it's time for the main event. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Follow me and ponder the question, what if?
Hello and welcome to another YouTube exclusive of What If, part of the Red, White, Buffalo Blue series. Alex, Matt here. And after the last episode where we did Jerry Hughes, we're moving on to a very interesting topic on this one, Alex. What introduce it?
Let's not all overreact, okay? I want to know what Bills fans' reaction would be if Josh Allen regresses. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be, to that, I'm talking about a regression to the mean. What if we run the ball more and his stat line doesn't look like it does? What if he doesn't run more and takes more sacks to protect himself because of that payday? So yeah, I don't want anybody to overreact, but I think that I came at this two ways. One, traditional, good old Bills fan negativity, pessimism, and a bit of realism. Because digging into the numbers, I have a lot of examples of quarterbacks the year after their best year regressing. And it just depends on what we all think would be acceptable or what we think could happen. So off the bat, real quick, do you think this topic is ridiculous?
My optimistic, realistic self, no.
Yeah, of course.
My pessimistic self, yes.
Okay.
Because it just depends. I mean, if he's regressed a little bit because of the game plan and how they want to scheme this offense now to challenge, be a bit more well-rounded, then I don't have a problem with some of his stats going down and all that. If he's regressing and they're still keeping the same offense they had last year, sprinkling just a few more runs, and he regresses quite a bit, then I kind of would be a little bit angry, a little bit annoyed about that. But if it's scheme and they will come out and said, we're going to try and do this more, become more balanced rather than a one-dimensional passing team, and he regresses a little bit on the stats, then for me, I don't care about that.
Yeah. So digging into quarterback comparisons, I argue if I want to start with good quarterbacks and how they regress, or quarterbacks who shocked people and then he regressed. I think I'm going to start with that one because Josh Allen shocked a lot of people last year, right?
Yeah,
so
he did.
Jared Goff in 2018, 4,688 yards, 32 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 34.9 completion percentage. His Pro Football Reference approximate value was an 18.
Okay.
That's a really good stat year, isn't it?
Yeah. That's his best year. That's how many years after coming out?
That was his second year.
Okay.
2019 Jared Goff. 4,638 yards. So about the same yardage, but 10 less touchdowns, 22 touchdowns, more interceptions with 16, completion percentage down to 62.9. His approximate value hit a 12.
Okay.
So I think right now where we feel about Jared Goff is 2018 was an outlier. He's an average quarterback, right? I mean, his team traded him. His team lost trust in him.
Yeah. I mean, what was the run stat? Did you actually look at the run stats?
I didn't look at the run stat, not for Jared Goff, but I mean,
even for the team. I mean, for the team and the way they did, because to be honest,
right? Because 2018 they had Todd Gurley and he did really well.
Yeah.
2019, not so much.
That's where I'm kind of thinking. So I mean, yeah, fair enough. If he's gone down 10 touchdowns, it might be a case that it was the running game started to become a bit more prominent in their hand. But yeah, the interceptions
No, it's not like
going
it's
up.
not like in 2019 the run game took over their offense. It was
Yeah, that's true.
everything, his interceptions were up, completion percentage down. It was a Goff. It wasn't, the team scheme. Obviously we feel like Allen is going to be better than Jared Goff, right?
Yeah.
And the only reason I say be better than, not is better than, is because this is a remarkably important year for Josh Allen to prove that last year wasn't a fluke.
Yeah.
The good news is there aren't very many Jared Goff's examples where he was good and then he falls off. There's not a lot of that. Usually when a quarterback is good, they're good.
What was the stat for last year?
I don't
Goff.
have that.
You don't have
It
that.
was bad, so let's not even bother. It was bad.
Okay.
It got him traded, for Christ's sake.
Well, yeah.
So
that's
what we need to avoid right now, because then all of the haters are going to come out of the woodwork. If Allen can put 2 Jared Goff years together, then would we trade him? I still don't think so. Right?
No, not with the cap hit that you're gonna take. You're gonna put yourself in cap hell.
Goff, he didn't. His salary isn't like Josh Allen's is, but
no, not anymore. No, but with Josh, if it did ever get down to that thing, because it depends. If he does it before his contract hits, then we're not probably gonna hit that much cap value. So if he has next 2 things in, it's this year or bust if you're thinking of that, because if they go any further, he's then hit into his extension and the cap hit,
and then no one's going to want him at that contract. Yeah. So I, again, for anybody who's hate watching this, I don't believe that Josh Allen is going to become a Jared Goff. For argument's sake, let me give you another comparable. Everybody loves the Cam Newton comparison, right?
Yeah.
2015 Cam Newton, 3,800 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 59.8 completion percentage, approximate value of 21. He was the MVP that year. His 2016 passing yards down by 3,500. Touchdowns way down, 19. Interceptions up to 14. Completion percentage down to 52.9. Approximate value 11. That is bottom half of the league for a quarterback. So if that happens, how do we feel?
If that happens, then seriously something gone wrong with the coaching style there. He's had the Ball and Ken Dorsey into his 4th year, so he's got that continuity. So I think that is the key. That's the key, and that's what's going to stop him regressing. If he regresses, then you've got to put it on Josh Allen himself, because he knows his limitations, he knows his strengths. If he starts exploiting his weakness a little bit more and getting caught up in that, then that could be his downfall. But then you also look at Dorsey and DeBall and how they're managing him, how they're coaching him up, because it lay claims on them a little bit. For it.
You can blame the player, though.
That's what
the coaching only goes so far. If the player falls off, it could either be due to injury or just, the emotional side of it, or just, because the physical ability for Allen isn't going to fall off. It's going to be scheme, or it's going to be his confidence and his ability. That's what it would affect his ability on the field.
I agree. I said on that, you've got to put blame on Allen for if he did regress, because it could be something physical with him, and you also put a little bit on the coaching for off the field stuff. So when they come off after a snap or anything like that, or during practice,
he's starting to do commercials now. You see, he's doing a
Is he?
Buffalo Wild Wings commercial, right? So he's starting to do commercials now. So if that kind of stuff keeps happening, maybe I'm being ridiculous. I don't believe any of this. I just like to argue. So that's if Allen becomes less than what we want him to be. Comparison for Allen, for him to become, for Allen to be what we think he's going to be in the future, a comparable, I think, is Aaron Rodgers. His best year in 2011, 4,600 passing yards, 45 touchdowns, 6 picks, 68 completion percentage, approximate value 23, MVP year.
Yeah.
His 2012, 4,200 passing yards, down a little, 39 touchdowns, down a little, 8 interceptions, up, 67% completion percentage, down, approximate value 16. Still really freaking good.
Yeah. I think if it's anything like that, then yeah, I'll be happy with that. I think that I would take. If it's a small regression, as I say, it may be, as I said earlier, it might be down to the scheme itself. If the scheme does change, that he doesn't throw it as often, and especially down the especially in the red zone, especially when you get down inside the 10 and they decide to run it more. We all know that Josh Allen is a touchdown machine in the red zone, not just throwing, but rushing as well. But if they've built up that run game, and with Moss and Singletary both doing what they can do, and obviously we've seen in preseason, against second string, what Reggie Gilliam can do, rushing as a fullback. If they sprinkle in more runs in there, and actually more touchdowns that way, obviously that's taken away a little bit of touchdown from
that
Josh
will
Allen.
that will lower his Pro Football References scoring of approximate value. And I would be okay with that. It comes down to, as long as if the completion percentage comes down, if the interceptions go up, if the punting frequency goes up, then that might be Josh Allen regression. But if just touchdowns go down, but everything else is all right, and obviously wins, then you can't be upset with that, because Allen's last year was better than Rodgers, his second down year. But obviously Mahomes' best year, 2018, MVP, 50 touchdowns, 66 completion percentage, approximate value 22. His 2019, big down year comparatively. 4,000 yards passing, only 26 touchdowns, but the interceptions came down to 5. Completion percentage about the same, but approximate value 17. I think that we need to be ready for a regression, but not crazy, not a Goff regression, not a Cam Newton regression. I'm talking about a regression to the mean. And that's where the math comes in. So let me give you his average and what a regression would be. So I exclude 3 years ago because he wasn't a full-time starter.
Yep.
Exactly. He was, but he wasn't. There were some injuries in there. Excluding rookie year, because the 2018 wasn't Goff's rookie year. The 2015 wasn't Cam's rookie year. So Josh Allen 2-year average, 3,816 yards. I'll round down for argument's sake. 28 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 64 completion percentage.
What's that? That's 2018, 2019.
Yep. No, 2019, 2020.
Okay. So
465 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns, 4.4 yards per carry. If that's Josh Allen's season, are you happy or upset about 3,800 yards, 28 touchdowns, 9 picks, 400 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns?
The only thing I'd be a bit miffed on is dropping about 800 yards. But that again, that will figure into the game plan.
That's because
if the game plan actually makes him throw for that amount in the year, then I'm happy with that. I'm happy that the team's still doing well. They're actually using a lot more of the personnel available. If it's a case that they don't push the run game some more, and that's what Allen's final yards come to, then yeah, I'll be a little bit annoyed on that,
Well,
especially.
let's say it's more like 2019 than it is 2020. We're 11-6. The running game doesn't improve. We're a wild, we win the division, but that's just because maybe a tiebreaker with the Dolphins.
Okay.
If that's Josh Allen's stat line, are we blaming him, or are we blaming the running game, or are we blaming the defense? Because last year, you tell me this. Last year was that stat line because he had to do it, or was it because he just did it because that's what he's just that good? Do you think he played Superman ball last year, or was this stat line he had last year because that's just what we should expect from him?
I think last year's stat line is something that we know he's actually done, because we know we've seen that progression year after year from the rookie year, second year, third year, fourth year. That completion percentage has always gone up. And the fact that, again, it's the continuity. I mean, we'll see what happens at the start of next season, because if anything, it's more likely that DeBull might get that head coaching gig.
Hopefully Dorsey maybe becomes our offensive coordinator, but he might go, if we don't offer him OC, maybe he goes somewhere to be an OC.
I mean, if they get continuity, if the ball goes, they promote Dorsey to OC, and Davis Webb, for example, retires and becomes the quarterback coach. There again, you've got the continuity. If the ball goes and takes Ken Dorsey with him, and Allen's got to learn a new play set from a new offensive coordinator and have a new quarterback coach, depending if obviously on Davis Webb if he wants to go into coaching and all that, then we'll see how he works with continuity, because we've seen that he works off season with Jordan Palmer pretty much every off season, and we're seeing the footwork, we're seeing the mechanics start to click into place. And last year he started taking a few more or less risks. He still took risks by holding on and trying to run when he shouldn't do, and taking sacks when he could have just thrown it away and all that. That's fine. That's still the learning process of a young guy there. But he's taken the less and less risks than what we saw against Cowboys on Thanksgiving on that fourth down run.
So about that, do you want to see that again, or do you want him to get rid of that?
I would like to see him get rid of it. If he has to on a couple of plays, have to do it,
but not every game. You don't want to see him doing that every game.
No, don't want it every
game.
More
runs out of bounds.
Yeah, if more runs out of bounds, more sliding than actually than diving. But if he gets at the odd game, the odd play here and there that he needs to, or he thinks he can do it because there's nothing open, then yeah, fair enough. I will say go for it. But even if it's deep into the game, I would still like him to play safe, because anything can happen, especially on that fourth. If he hadn't got that ball against Dallas could have scooped it up, and I think we were in their own half or just inside their half.
Yeah.
So they would have had a shorter field to play with, and who knows, that may have changed the whole of that game. So
speaking on that, I have a good question there. Speaking on that, if the coaching staff asks him to not do that again, will that affect his overall play? If the coaching staff says, hey, Josh, be a little bit more cautious, is that going to trickle down into the rest of his game?
I don't think so. I think it depends if they say on certain situations. I mean, if they say be cautious on your throws and always look for the easy ones, then
that would be bad. That would be bad.
But if he says that, and it's like as in scrambles, and you think you can make it, but you may not, just be conservative, slide or go out of bounds, I don't think that will affect his game. If they tell him to do it whilst he's passing, yeah, that could have a trickle down effect into his mentality, how he wants to play. He'll always try and say, look, I can do it, and actually want to prove it with the ball, which could cause turnovers, interceptions, loss of downs, whatever. If they tend to be more conservative that way, I could possibly see it affecting him. If you tell him to be less conservative when you're doing on fourth downs or scramblings, if you can't get the first down, go out. I can't see that really affecting his mentality. So
Okay.
it's only if it's affecting what he wants to do with the ball in his hand and throwing it.
So expectations for this year on Josh Allen. I believe the schedule is a little bit more difficult for the passing game. So if his stat line from last year is the same, what are you expecting? Are you expecting him to regress? Are you expecting him to continue to progress? Or would last year be exactly what you want from him?
I think there will maybe a little bit of regression in the yards if there's what you say that it's going to be difficult for the in the pass game on there. But anything over 4,000 passing yards, I would still say is acceptable. If it goes below 4,000, then yeah, I will say, yeah, no, that's definitely something that we need to sort of be worried about. But if he's in the 4,000 range, say 4,200 sort of range, I'll be happy with it. I mean, just looking at it, the only real ones that really could threaten us that much are maybe the Chiefs, Titans, Patriots, possibly in the Bucks. They're really
Patriots,
the only ones.
Steelers.
I'm not that afraid of the Steelers.
I would argue the Steelers are the best defense in the league. I mean, week one might be weird because, just week one jitters and stuff like that. But so let me give you what I think is like a worst case regression. It's tough to say because like comparing all these stats, like Russell Wilson, 2015 to 2016, nearly 10 less touchdowns. Big Ben, 2014 to 2015, nearly 10 less touchdowns. I mean, those are two teams that didn't get worse in record or in personnel, but the quarterback play fell off. Maybe Brady going too far back, his 07 to 09, because he lost 2008 to injury. I mean, that's when he threw for 50 touchdowns. Then his next playing year, he only threw 28.
And for that, you could potentially put down to missing the whole of 2008 on there. So that's an anomaly right there. I mean, what about, I don't know if you've looked at like Peyton Manning and Brett Favre, that's too far back.
I think that's different. I think for what Peyton Manning is, I mean, even comparing Allen to Brady, like I said, I didn't want to do it because they're a different style of quarterback. I kept with quarterbacks who are improvisational and run, just not full pocket passers. So that's why I chose those. So I wouldn't say Peyton Manning, I wouldn't say Drew Brees. So I didn't compare him to those guys.
What about Andrew Luck? Did you class him as a?
I forgot about him because he's out of the season. Let me do that right now. Andrew Luck's best year. Andrew Luck is a bit of an outlier in that his best year was consistent across his whole career pretty much. His 2015, only 7 games due to injury, but 2016 and 2018 on point. So that's what you would hope from Allen. Yeah. His best year is continued, but it's easy to see, and it should be expected that Andrew Luck he is the anomaly here, because even the best players that I've talked about, their follow-up to their best year is a little bit worse, but still very much acceptable. So exactly. I just don't want people to see his stats weren't as good, so Allen's not, that was an anomaly season. He's not going to be that good going forward. I don't think that argument should exist if Allen's numbers are a little bit worse this year, which I am expecting them to be. If Allen does go out there and give me an Andrew Luck, gives me the exact same stats as this year, amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm not expecting him to even, like I said, that Mahomes, that Russell Wilson, that Big Ben still really good second seasons after their best seasons. So I don't think Josh Allen regresses is going to be a vomit-inducing season. I still think we're going to be great. I still think we're going to win the division. Still think we're going to win playoff games. I just want people to understand that a regression to the mean, 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, is what you should expect from Josh Allen this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at, let's say, Andrew Luck probably is what ideally what you want to try and look at Josh Allen do, because you're right. This is best year 2014. You say 4,761 yards, 40 touchdowns, 16 interceptions.
Yeah, he was over 30 touchdowns in his three best years. His third year, his fifth year, and his sixth year. He hovered around the 12 to 15 interceptions. He hovered around 65 completion percentage. So yeah, if that's what Allen does, that's great. It's really hard to repeat your best year.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, if he's anything like the Andrew Luck in that 4-year span, minus the time he only just played seven games.
Yeah.
If we just rule out the 2015 for Andrew Luck, if he can get the 2014, 2016, 2018, and that's his regression, because on all of them they are still lower than 2014, and obviously his sack height went down in this last year, obviously high in 2016.
And Andrew Luck he rushes a lot less than Josh Allen does.
Yeah.
Too,
so
you can get more there.
I did get that. I think, but if we can get something similar to that and to Andrew Luck's or production, I mean, staying above 4,000, even if it is 4,200, even 4,100, if it's above 4,000, and the interceptions aren't as bad as what they were in his first 2 years, or so, you're looking at a manageable regression. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, an acceptable regression, absolutely, and that's what I think we're going to get. So I would say let's take this average Josh Allen stat line. We'll put it on Twitter and we'll ask if it's acceptable, and we'll see what happens.
Nice. That sounds good to me. I mean, it's something we've got game win drives. We know he can play.
Yeah.
And I think it is just a case. Yeah, he's not been shown any love in the media. Maybe that's what some people are using that as almost like,
I don't know. Are you sure?
Gospel.
You sure he hasn't?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I think
he's getting love still. I mean, people are thinking he's still going to be in the MVP conversation.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's definitely getting love, especially from Neil Reynolds, who seems to be on the bandwagon for a Dolphins fan.
That's fine. Hey, if we can get a Dolphins fan on the bandwagon, that means that people should need to believe in this team. So that's great.
Yeah, but I think with the some of the snubs that he gets from other media guys and guys we don't want to name, sometimes that can put seed of doubt in your head that maybe it was a 1-year wonder type thing, and that a regression and a big regression, even a little regression, could be coming. But what we've proved and what we've seen by some of these quarterbacks, and if it's a minor one and it's mainly down to the scheme more than anything, they start running the ball a bit more, so it takes away a bit more yardage and probably a few more touchdowns for Allen, because we're just not slinging it. And obviously game situation, if we're up against a team that will actually we can dice through the air like most teams last year, then yeah, we'll probably see there or thereabouts the same one. But any regression, it's still, I say, if it's over 4,000 yards, if it's over, say, 25 touchdowns, and if it stays around the 10 to 12 interceptions, I would be happy with that.
I think it's going to be really tough, though. And here's something that I just remembered. We got an extra game, so it's going to be really tough to compare this year to last year. So that just might throw the whole thing out of whack. So I guess we can't really expect any kind of stat line because we've never seen anybody play this many games. So hell, who knows?
Yeah. So get that stat line up.
Yep.
We'll post it on Twitter and we'll see what happens. So that was another episode of our YouTube exclusive. So make sure you are subscribing to our YouTube channel. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button for future What If episodes, for future content. And we'd love to hear your views. So give us a tweet at UK_Bills, Buffalo Bills UK on YouTube. Just give us a follow at RWBB_podcast and Buffalo Bills UK on Facebook. Like, comment, share, get involved. Bring other people into the group. Bring family, bring friends, bring NFL rookies to the Bills. Let's just grow. Hit like and subscribe. Watch out for the next installment of What If. And for Alex, this is Matt saying, what if the Bills went and won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, there will be more optimistic episodes of What If coming.
So for Matt and Alex, it's thank you for tuning in, and go Buffalo.
Go Bills.